Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today in War Thunder we are having a look at another devblog for the Italian fleet. So these are the early access packs that are going to be available for pre-purchase in order to get access to the CBT or the closed beta test for the Italian naval vehicles. Remember, whenever there is a new tech tree out, it enters a CBT period when its update releases, and basically when it comes to the Italian ones, these are going to be the two packs that you can buy in order to get access on the first day to the tech tree itself. Now, obviously there will be other ways of doing it. Normally they do some kind of tester stars system, but these are normally the surefire ways to get access, to it. And also, you get them in premium form, so they're great at grinding through the tree. The first one is the P420 Spar Viera. It's very, very similar to the PGO2 with slightly different weaponry. And also, we have the Genie Aile, which I think is how you say it. This is a rank 3 Italian destroyer of the Soldati class. So, the Spar Viera is $19.99, the Genie Aile is $40. We'll be having a look at both of them. I'll be describing generally what's in them, and also, what's also in the pack. So first of all, we're having a look at the Spar Viera. Now, the Spar Viera is very similar to another vehicle that you may already know in the game, the PGO2, which was the Japanese Premium Rank 2, which came out, which you could get for, getting into the Japanese CBT. The only main difference between those vehicles that is in-game right now is the fact that this one, which is of course the Italian one, has access to an automatic gun on it, the Otto Melara 76mm, which is the same one which is on the Albatross, I believe, and also the same one which is on the automatic, which is of course the high-tier AA from Italy. What this means is you have quite a fast-firing 76mm autocannon. It has access to a ton of rounds and also a high rate of fire. And let's just say it's going to go around and bop pretty much any PT boat which runs into it in any nasty way. It may obviously have issues against larger machines, just like a lot of these style of machines do, because of the fact that it has absolutely no armor protection and also a very small crew complement. So therefore, it's going to be the king of the seas against smaller machines than it, but it should get battered by bigger machines than it. It's kind of the way of these styles of machines where they are, in a way, feast or famine, but even at the end of the day, this thing does have access to a few more features to make it a little bit more useful, even if you can't use it in an anti-ship role. The other thing to also talk about is right now its armament is only the 76mm, and if we have a look at its store page, we can actually see that the Spar Viera will have access to HE shells, it will have access to SAP shells, and also HE variable timed fuse shells. Now, on the stream today, they gave it a go. They tried out the variable time fuse shells. It didn't seem to work too well. They weren't actually activating on aircraft, and I'm unsure whether they should be available for aircraft, but hopefully they are, because otherwise there isn't really much use in them. But it does have access to a surface-to-air radar, so even if, you don't want to use it as a ship-to-ship killer, it does have access to means to be able to deal with other stuff, such as planes. So this overall is going to be a pretty fun vehicle. All you have to do is ask any PGO2 player how fun this general, this boat is, even with the different armament. For me personally, when I have a look at it, I think this will actually be better than the PGO2, because one of the limiting factors of the PGO2 is the fact that it uses the Vulcan, and the Vulcan doesn't have the greatest range on the gun, whereas this 76mm can shoot for many kilometers, so you'll never have an issue when it comes to hitting targets at range. Instead, you'll be limited in other areas, such as, the amount of ammunition that you have compared to a Vulcan, but it should be fine nonetheless. The other thing as well is, since it's a 76mm, it isn't over the 100mm it's a threshold, so it shouldn't be hull-breaking stuff, but with the new systems that they're brought in, such as the crew systems that we find from a lot of these, machines, where if they get under a certain crew level, they can't repair and stuff, this 76mm is going to be devastating to whatever it touches. Also, if we have a look at the pre-order, you also get yourself a nice decal, this Sparrowhawk that you can see here. You also get a unique title in the form of the Seahawk, 1000 GE and a premium account for 7 days. So when we take away the 1000 GE and a premium account for 7 days, basically means that this thing is worth about $12 to $10. So if you think that is worth it for you, for what is going to be a meta, ship for Italy, I would definitely say, it's worth it. I'm personally thinking about picking it up for myself, just because I never picked up the PGO2, just because I wasn't really sure about the purchase at the time, but I really like this pack. I think it looks really good. The next vehicle to have a look at. Oh, by the way, this vehicle is also got a max speed of about 90 kilometers an hour, so enjoy that. The next vehicle to have a look at is the Genie Aile, and the Genie Aile, or however you say it, is a vehicle to look forward to for many little reasons. The first thing is it's a Soldati class, and we already know that there is going to be a Soldati class in the tech tree, but on top of that there are going to be 2 other destroyers at least, which is really nice to see for it, and therefore you'll be able to create a complement of at least 3 destroyers in the game to be able to use. The Genie Aile right now is looking like the best out of the 4 that is going to be available. It's going to be a 4-3, same as the other Soldati class, which will be 4-3, but the difference between the 2 is, as usual, the premium gets more AA armament. Now, I'm not going to talk about it too much here, but as usual, I am not happy with the fact that the premium destroyer is just a flat-out better version of the tech tree destroyer. I have never enjoyed this. I think it is very sad to see, and it does definitely harbour on the side of the pay-to-win idea because of the fact it's just a better version. So yeah. The other thing as well is some of the general stats about this machine. It has access to 200 crew, or well, approximately 200 crew. It should have around 206. And other things to also mention is it has a beautiful skin on it that you can see, and it does have access to 5 main guns, 2 on the front, 2 on the back, 1 in the middle, and what you have is access to some 120mm guns on it. You also have access to 6 twin-barreled 20mm Breda autocannons, and they should have an impressive fire rate to be useful to. And something to also mention is the fact that when we have a look at this, I'm guessing these ones are different down here, is if you have a look at the AA guns, so this is a good picture of one, you can see that they're actually not mounted 0 degrees horizontal or vertical. They're kind of diagonal, and I'm wondering if this is actually going to change the spread of the guns. It probably won't, but it's just something to think about, when it comes to this machine overall. Also, the top speed of this machine is 65 kilometers an hour. This is pretty similar to a lot of other destroyers that we have in the game. Not something that, is going to take over the game, but it is at least comparable, which is nice. It also has access to 2 triple torpedo launchers, so it does have some really nice torpedoes on it. And having a look at the torpedoes that the Italian ships have access to, in my opinion, what we're having a look at here is very similar to torpedoes compared to a machine like the British. So 10 kilometers max distance, decent speed behind them. So yeah, we'll have to see when the dev server comes out to fully make sure that we understand, what the capabilities are of them, but it should be okay. And obviously, there isn't too much armor on this thing, since it is a Soldati class. It is a pre-World War II design, but this is at least the late modification of it, which has extra AA all over it. And if you want to have a look at the pack itself, we can have a look at that. It's $40, but it does come with 15 days worth of premium, 2000 GE, and what is interesting is instead of coming with a decal, it actually comes with a profile icon, which is kind of a nice little novelty. I didn't think that we would actually get this, and it kind of saddens me in a way because I'd really like collecting the profile icons. So in order to get this one, I'd have to drop $40 for it. You also get access to the Sapper title, and of course the Italian naval CBT access. So yeah, it's just kind of nice to see, you know, all of these vehicles. If I'm going to give you a general overview of what I think of the Italian tech trees, because we do, they did actually show the Italian tech trees on the stream. When I think about it, the rank 1 and the rank 2 definitely looks serviceable. The rank 3, which is the destroyers, there is only 3 of them there right now, and to be honest, 2 of them are not looking great. The only one which looks okay is the Soldati class, and when I compare it to, let's say, the Japanese and the American ones, it doesn't look very great. And the light cruisers that are available, because of course, as we know, the Trento is the top cruiser for the line, the heavy cruiser. There was also some other, you know, cruisers available there. They also didn't really spark the imagination. So the only thing that really kind of sparked the imagination, apart from obviously the premiums, was the fact that they are also getting the one of the first anti-ship missile in the game. Now, these anti-ship missiles will be on a 3.7 chip that the Italians have, and it will have access to not a huge warhead, only around about 47 kilos, so it'll be good against smaller boats, but it won't be great against larger machines. This is kind of a nice little wade into the idea of anti-ship missiles, but it's also interesting to think, will we see other machines which have them modeled, such as the Albatross and such as the Chikugo, actually have them in the game at some point? Another thing to also note is this machine that you see before you. So this machine, of course, the Spar Viera, the 420, the P420, could get an upgrade in the future. And this was something they talked about on the PGO2 Devblog, but haven't talked about here. So I'm wondering if a decision has been made. We obviously don't know. But the fact is this machine is technically incomplete in its form. It could also carry 2 anti-ship missile launchers on the back. So this may become a machine in the future which is even more powerful than it is now. And right now, let's just say it will be pretty powerful against stuff at its general tier. So that may be something to look forward to, you know, alongside the PGO2 once these things get their anti-ship missile capabilities. So those are the 2 Italian fleet early access vehicles that are available. As I said, rank 1 and 2 of the tree is looking nice, rank 3 is looking a bit odd, and rank 4 and 5 I don't think is looking great compared to other nations. But remember, it is just the start of the tech tree. The Japanese tech tree, the main expansions that we've had from last year, are obviously in rank 4 and rank 5 for that nation, and I'm sure the same will be for Italy over the next year or so. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Eugene's Terry, Daniel Stanton, Blackie, Elove Goat, Jay Wilt, Martinez, B. Young, Chris Giltnane, Trigger Hippie, Ambrosius McClellan, and also Samuel Slick for supporting the channel.